Hi, this is Mitch Doan, and along with Jamie Richardson, we're your hosts of the Break-Thru Active podcast. We aim to deep dive into health and fitness that will help bring you a better understanding of topics that are of interest to you and can help you on your own journey. If you are enjoying the episodes, we'd love for you to leave us a rating on the platform you listen to your podcasts. Enough from me, sit back, relax, and enjoy the episode. Welcome back again to the Break-Thru Active podcast. My name is Mitch. I am your host again this morning. Tuesday morning here this week, and it has been raining cats and dogs here for the last day or two. I woke up a few times through the night, and I have never heard rain so loud since I can remember. It's been super heavy. One thing I did think of this morning was I'm glad that this type of rain wasn't around when we were in our lockdown last year when we were doing our outdoor PT sessions. We were very fortunate with the rain actually for those couple of months, and if we had a couple of days like this, it would have been pretty miserable. I do remember one or two where it was super rainy, but not like this for day after day after day. But enough about the weather. I am going to be talking about the keto diet today. So the ketogenic diet. So it is probably something that most of you who are listening have heard of. It has been a little bit more popularized here in the last few years. If you've been someone who is interested in different types of diets and nutrition approaches, or someone who is just interested in working out or the gym in general, it has been doing the rounds in social media and just in general pop culture. So if you are someone who has any sort of interest in nutrition, you are probably also someone who has heard of this, and perhaps even someone who has tried this. So what I'm going to be talking about today, the title of my video for today is the keto diet and why it sucks. So I am going to talk about that from my opinion, but I want to talk a little bit about why I don't think it is something that is sustainable for me, and then also just talk a little bit about what exactly it is, and a little bit about the principles of it. So, like I mentioned, if you have heard of it, you probably do have a bit of a base understanding of it. So it is a low carb, moderate protein, and high fat diet. So first of all, one of the mistakes that people think or people make is they think it's high protein and high fat, where excuse me, it is considered to be something that is low carb, which everyone knows, but moderate protein and high fat. So that's one mistake that some people make, but the high fat is what really differentiates it from other approaches. So the idea behind it is that when our body starts to use, I guess, a different source for its energy, so normally our body is relying on carbohydrates to get its energy. When we start to eat lower carbohydrates, so the keto diet does recommend somewhere between 20 to 50 grams of carbohydrates a day, which is super low. And in some research, it even shows it to be needed to be even lower than that. So when we are eating very, very low carb diet, then we need to make it up somewhere else. And that's, in this instance, is when we start to eat high fat. And the idea behind the whole diet is that our body will start to use fat as its main form of energy, as opposed to carbohydrates like it normally does. So it's broken down into something called ketones, which leads to a term called ketosis. So ketones, I did have to do a little bit of research myself about what exactly they are, but they are the acid remaining when the body starts to burn its own fat. So the reason why I do know a little bit more about this and have for quite a long time is my brother actually has type 1 diabetes and has since he was 4 or 5 years old, and he's a couple of years older than me. So it's been, something prevalent in my life since I was very young. And if you or anyone you love, or anyone in your family or close friend does have type 1 diabetes, you'll be quite familiar with the term ketones. I won't get into it too much, but there can be complications when you have high levels of ketones when you do have type 1 diabetes and you are insulin dependent. It can lead to a dangerous condition which is called ketoacidosis, which is when your body has too many ketones, and effectively, since your body doesn't produce insulin by itself, it has a hard time leveling that out. So if you are someone who has a friend or family member, or maybe you have type 1 diabetes, you're going to know a lot about this as well. But effectively, getting back to the principles of it, the idea is we start to eat very low amounts of carbohydrates. Our protein remains moderate, but our fat intake goes really high. And the idea is that we're going to start to use fat as our main energy source, as opposed to carbohydrates like it is for everyone else. So it can take anywhere between 2 to 4 days for our body to reach this level of ketosis when you are starting a keto diet. For some people, it can be longer, depending on your activity level and stress and a few other lifestyle factors there as well. But typically, it will be a few days until you can actually reach that level of ketosis. And that is, like I mentioned, when you are eating, somewhere between 20 and 50 grams of carbohydrates each day, and sometimes for certain people can be even lower. So before I talk about why I think it sucks for me, there has been some research done, and there are some principles and some ideas around it can be really beneficial for people with certain medical conditions. So this isn't anything to do with body composition or weight loss or just general living or a general lifestyle choice as it relates to their nutrition, but people who do have epilepsy. There has been some research done to show that it can be beneficial for people to improve that. There has been a growing amount of research for people with brain cancer and how a keto diet can be helpful for that. There hasn't really been too much to have been proven yet, but from what I've found anyway, but there has been quite a bit of research to show that there may be some benefits. And then people with type 2 diabetes. So what I was referring to before was type 1 diabetes, and for people with type 2 diabetes, this can be really helpful to regulate things there too. But why I wanted to talk about here briefly, it's not going to be a super long video, but why I think it is a super challenging diet for people to follow, and that's why I said it sucks, because if you can't follow it very easily, then it's not going to be something that you can adhere to for very long. I've been in the industry for a long time and have been around people following different diets and exercise nutrition plans for even longer, and I don't know anyone who has been able to do this for an extended period of time successfully. And a lot have tried it. And just the challenges that you face when you are effectively eliminating a whole macronutrient. So you are effectively not eating carbohydrates. Super hard. Like, I feel like that's obvious, but for you to say, okay, you can never really have carbohydrates ever again outside of 20 to 50 grams in a day, which, to put that in perspective, might be 1 or 2 slices of bread, or a serving of broccoli, or a little half a cup of rice, and that's all you can have for the whole day for your carbohydrates. I mean, it doesn't take an expert to be able to determine that is going to be really hard to follow. And with any nutrition plan, it needs to be something that you can see yourself adhering to for a long period of time. If it is going to be just something that is for a week or 2 weeks or a month, then it is not really something that you should even venture down, because if anything, that is just going to muck up your hormones and muck up your levels of your base levels as it relates to your calorie intake and your susceptibility to insulin and all types of things. So if you don't feel like you can do it long term, I don't even really feel like people should even begin. And with this keto diet, like I mentioned, I don't know anyone who's been able to stick to it long term. I'm sure there are people out there that aren't in my network that I don't know, but people I know and people who have tried it is just a flash in the pan and something that people try for a little while, and then the reality sets in that you cannot really ever eat carbohydrates again. And some of the best foods in the world are carbohydrates: bread, pasta, rice, pizza, all very carb heavy. Ice cream, you name it. They're all the most delicious foods outside of good quality meat or something, in my opinion, is carb based. And if you're really unable to eat that, moving forward, then what likelihood do you have to stick to a diet? That's my opinion, of course, and that's what I've said in the past. There may be people out there who it has worked for. And I think where a lot of people get excited with it is you think, you can eat this high-fat diet, so you can have, lots of bacon, you can have whipped cream, you can eat other foods that are super high in fat. But after a little while, you get really sick of those fatty foods and your body craves those carbohydrates. Obviously, like I mentioned earlier, there are some medical benefits for people with certain conditions. And if you are one of those people, then I hope you're not getting your information off me to try and improve that, and you should seek a professional's opinion. But if you are, have heard that there is some benefits for certain conditions, and that's why. But as it relates to a nutrition choice and a diet, and for people looking to lose weight and keep it off, or they're looking to build some muscle, I just don't think it's the best way to go about it, because it is going to be incredibly difficult to sustain and incredibly difficult for you to keep up with moving forward when you are eliminating a whole macronutrient, and in my opinion it's the best one, carbohydrates. So I will be talking a little more about this for the next few episodes, so if you are interested, please tune in. But other than that, thanks for listening. Hope you enjoy the day, and I'll talk to you on the next one. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If there is a topic you'd like us to discuss that we haven't already, please make sure you reach out in Facebook Messenger, and we'll do our best to cover it in the upcoming episodes. For those of you enjoying the podcast, we'd love for you to like, subscribe, and leave us a rating. It really helps us grow and spread the good word. Hoping you're all having a great day, and we'll be sure to see you on the next one.